And welcome back everybody to the Stewart 34 Championship Series here in Auckland, New Zealand. We are just watching our non-spinnaker division finish the second race of the night, race 17, and in just a few moments the race committee will get ready to fire another start away and kick off race 18, which is the third race of the evening. I'm joined here tonight by Josh Weejohn, one of New Zealand's most up-and-coming young sailors, and myself, Sue Ellen from Liv Saudai, and Brad, our boat driver, who did some fantastic manoeuvres in the first race to keep us out of trouble. And there you go, the pink flag has gone up, which means that we are now 5 minutes away from a start. Very exciting. The night has turned out beautifully, Josh. We've got a beautiful sunset, we've got a nice little breeze. I'm going to just wait for you to be ready, and then I'll start having comms with you. You ready? You good?
That's good. I'm
good?
Ready now. Sorry, I was just trying to share it on my own Facebook.
Very important that we get this comms out and share with the world this fantastic Stewart 34 racing here in New Zealand. Last week we were in Sydney Harbour with the JJ Giltinens, watching New Zealand dominate the international fleet and win the JJs for a second year running. And here tonight we are on Auckland Harbour, and just check out that beautiful sunset, racing a class of boat that is coming up to their 60th anniversary. We're just a few seconds away from 4 minutes for the third race of the night. Josh, talk us through a starting sequence on a Stewart 34.
Yeah, well, so at the moment most of the boats, as you can see there, are just running the line. They're going up and down and just checking where they think the favoured end of the line is. They'll be having a look up the course at what they think the first shift is, and hopefully they can start at the favoured line, punch out of their lane, so get bow forward on the rest of the boats, and then get that first shift is what they'll be trying to do here. It's often pretty tight, there's a lot of infringing going on, but that's what we're here to see.
Absolutely, we saw some great action on the first mark rounding of the evening. It's not rubbing, it's not racing unless it's rubbing. And then in the second race we saw Princess have a couple of infringements, one resulting in them having to do turns. Question is, were those turns done too late? We'll just have to see if that one ends up in the protest room. And now for our third race, the breeze has picked up. What do you reckon we've got now, Josh?
I reckon we've got closer to 10 knots now, probably about 8 knots or so. Yeah, the boat's just making their way back across towards the boat end of the line. We're just below the pin. About to come into your screen here is Prism, as they make their way past the pin just in the middle of screen. Our series leader, Prince Hal, jibing around to lead back towards the start boat in the distance there.
And it seems our boat driver Brad has made the call that we are going to start at the pin end this time. We've started the first two races at the boat end, but Brad's decided the pin end.
Yeah, well, that'll be cool. And if you have been tuned in for our last races, feel free to argue in the comments about who you thought has infringed so far. Let us know if you want to see anything.
There's plenty to see, that's for sure.
Or just contribute to the banter.
Yeah, please do contribute to the banter. We can actually see the comments come up. Flick us a like or a love, you know, one of those other weird emoji things that you can do. Let us know that the audio is okay. Let us know that the quality in the picture is okay. We appreciate that feedback as we come up to 2 minutes away from race 3 of the evening and race 18 of the series. It seems like the calm before the storm at the moment, Josh.
Yeah, it really is, as all the boats are kind of making their way across just below the line. That's the pin in the middle of your screen, the left end of the line, and then the boat off to the distance. All the boats just getting ready. Now the main thing here is that you have a lane and you hold your lane. Pretty short course, so if you do more tacks than the other guys, it's really going to be costly.
We're seeing races of only about sort of 15 to 20 minutes long, so you know, these 34-foot classic keel boats having some really tight racing here on a Monday night in Auckland.
Yeah, as you've got just below the boat there, that is Prince Hal setting up at a minute to go. So Playboy closest to us, spinning up aggressively into attack. So Playboy must want the pin here. Guy Pilkington steering Playboy, never been afraid to get the boats close.
We did just have a question come through. I don't really understand it, but we are going to get nice and close to the fleet very, very shortly. Craig, if you just want to just talk us through the question that you asked, we're going to be very much amongst the fleet shortly. Our driver, Brad, will get us up close and personal. We'll be able to see what they ate for breakfast.
Very vocal as Guy Pilkington calls Passion up. That's Passion, second boat away from us. 15 seconds to go. Oh, more yelling. We'll probably try to get close here, see if we can hear it.
Passion might actually be over. Oh,
there goes the gun. Someone was over. Let's see who goes back. As we're looking straight through to leeward of Playboy, who seem to be committing to their start. They don't think they're over.
That was a general recall.
There you go, general recall.
And I'm not surprised actually. We know for sure that Passion and Playboy were over. We're not sure who else was, but the race committee has called for a general recall. Go back, start again, stop being impatient, and let's get a race away. I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a U flag or a black flag go up next.
Yeah, so just to clarify there, a general recall means that the race committee from the start boat were not able to see exactly who was over. So they've decided to call everyone back and go again. So that means there are too many people over to tell which ones were over and which ones weren't.
Well, I'm going to call Passion and Playboy were definitely over.
Yeah. And it looks like they're going straight into the non-Spinnaker start.
That's actually a good thing. We're going to follow the non-Spinnaker start. They actually have put the Blue Peter up, which shows that the Spinnaker division, they've been told, you know what guys, calm down, take a breather, and in the meantime we'll get away the non-Spinnaker division because we are going to lose daylight really soon. The sun is setting. You can see in that the beautiful contrast of colours to what we had a bit earlier. The breeze has picked up and we are now in sequence for the non-Spinnaker division.
Yeah, I think Craig's question might have been about how long the race is or how long the course is. It's just up here in front of the Chelsea Sugar Factory. If you do have a sea view and you're in Auckland, you'll be able to see them out there as you come across the bridge coming home.
That's the Chelsea Sugar Factory, and that is a ferry terminal.
So the course is probably about half a nautical mile long or so, and it only takes them about 15 minutes to get around it. The total course is longer, sorry, I'm saying the first leg.
Are you confusing your words here, Josh?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of words spoken. You're hungry.
Yeah. As our non-Spinnaker division get ready to start, I don't actually have the time on me right now, sorry. We'll get that in a second. 3 minutes 30 to go.
So we'll follow the non-Spinnaker division for a little way and then we'll come back into the Spinnaker division. Good to give these guys some airtime as well.
So that is Flyer just coming past us there.
The boat that's for sale, Josh, the boat that you might consider buying.
Yeah, I'm definitely having a look at it. My family are kind of after something that they can cruise on, but then if they're going to have a cruising yacht, might as well have a Stewart 34 because then I can race it as well. Two minutes have just gone now as we come past the race committee boat, and these guys are all volunteers. Big thanks to them for coming out every week, some of them most nights even, to run races down here at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron.
That's one thing, we cannot run this sport without volunteers, so nice work Josh on that. Shout out to the amazing volunteers, not just here in New Zealand but around the world.
Yeah, exactly.
You obviously have made sense with your explanation of Craig's question. He has come back and said thank you. Well done, Josh.
Oh, that's good. Cheers. Thanks for watching, Craig.
If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to fire them through. We'll do our best to answer. We can see the comments. We can see the little emoji things come up on the screen as well. So please feel free to entertain us, just like we are entertaining you. And Danielle has just said that she has cruised for many years on a Stewart. It's a bit like camping, but the kids loved it. Of course it's like camping, and our boat driver Brad has also spent much of his youth on a Stewart 34 as well.
So we're just inside a minute here of the non-Spinnaker division. That is Polaris between us and the committee boat, or closest to the committee boat, closely followed by Flyer, which is for sale. Pelagian 2, just off their stern. Now, so if you do have a Stewart, like you said, you cruise on them a lot, you need to get out here and come racing. You know, you don't have to know how to use a Spinnaker. It's a great night. You can bring the family along, and it's great learning all around with a real social bunch.
10 seconds to go until the start. Oh, that was so close. Flyer and Polaris.
Polaris just avoiding Flyer. Flyer with the right away. Polaris were over there.
And
two horns,
Two
recall.
Horns, general recall. Well, it even seems that the non-Spinnaker division is just as fierce as the racing division.
I think that was an individual recall because the individual flag is up, but the general flag has been left up from the other race.
Well,
hope that doesn't confuse everyone.
Thank you very much for that, Josh. And you're right, Polaris was the one that was over. They went back. That was a little bit confusing for me. I was looking at the flags, but you're right. We also got to go by the sound signals. And here is Flyer. So if you do want to buy this boat, it is for sale. Jump on Trade Me, search for Stewart 34. This boat will appear, and you better hurry up because I think Josh might buy it.
Yeah, I'd love to get involved. Flyer just leading Partico off to your left, or as it's commonly referred to as Partico. Roger Purdy, a regular umpire at in the kind of New Zealand, Australasian sailing scene, on the handles now, showing us how it's done.
As that sun starts to go behind the clouds, the race committee is going to want to get the next start away. This could very well be our last race of the night, Josh.
I think it will be. The sun's pretty close to being over the horizon. Spectacular viewing though, great scenes here in the Waitemata Harbour.
Now, can you please tell me the correct pronunciation for that? Because I know with my accent that I get laughed at.
Oh, it's okay.
How I say it.
It's Waitemata.
Waitemata.
Yeah.
Not Waitemata.
Oh, that's an honest attempt though.
Waitemata. There you go, you heard it here. The correct pronunciation for where we sail is
Waitemata.
Thank you very much for the English lesson. Sorry? So we've just had our 5 minutes for the Spinnaker division, which we are quite confident that this will be the last race of the night as the sun begins to fade. But still being able to bring you these pictures here tonight of the first night back of Stewart 34 racing here in New Zealand.
And that's Polaris that just made their way past us. They went back after being called over in that last start.
Be interesting to see, Josh, if we are going to have a black flag or a U flag so that we get this fleet starting on time.
Yeah, so the black flag start means that if you're over, you're disqualified, don't bother.
U flag.
So U flag means that you can come back and start, but if you're over within the last minute, you'll get a 20% penalty, I'm pretty sure is how it goes. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Let's see how good it is. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure you're right there. The U flag is getting used quite a lot. Once a new rule book was launched, the U flag we've seen a hell of a lot more than what we've seen in the past.
Well, it's good because it provides an incentive to not be over, you know, but you're still not out of the race. You don't have to stop, so I actually prefer it over the black flag there.
So would you push the limits with a U flag, or would you still be a little bit conservative?
I'd be conservative because especially in a smaller fleet like this, you'd back yourself to get back in the race, you know, from a start that wouldn't be necessarily favoured. So yeah, I'd definitely not be pushing it and taking that penalty for being over.
Right, now let's have a think about where do we want to be on this start line. Do we want to be down the pin end, or do we want to be right behind them and amongst it? I think we want to be amongst it. It's the last race of the night. Let's be a Stewart 34. Okay, boat driver Brad, let's go be a Stewart 34. No emotion. He's getting himself in the game. And you are here joined tonight. We've got Josh Weejohn, one of New Zealand's best young sailors, and myself, Sue Ellen, not Sue Ann, as my friend Jodie Shields, aka Randy Cunningham, likes to call me. After we spent a week at Bay of Islands doing the foiling event up there, the inaugural foiling event up at Bay of Islands, which now will be called Foil Bay of Islands. It's coming back for a second year, and that was another outstanding week of sailing.
Awesome. I'd love to make my way up to the Bay of Islands for Foil Bay of Islands as well.
Foil Bay of Islands was one of the most fun weeks I've ever been involved with sailing. 2 minutes to go until the start of what will be the final race of the evening, because I don't think the race committee is going to want to stay out here after dark, and neither do I actually, because it's starting to get a little bit chilly.
Yeah, I'm getting cold and I'm getting hungry.
Not a good combination on board a commentating boat. We have asked our boat driver Brad to put us right in amongst the action for the start. Derek Snow has just come back and said U flag is the same as a black flag, but you can start if there's a restart after the general recall. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The 20% penalty is the Z flag.
Yeah, my apologies. Cheers for clearing that up.
And hey guys, thank you so much for getting involved and being part of the communications here for this race. Stewart 34's racing with the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. We are on the media boat. We have permission, 1 minute to go. We have permission by the fleet to get right in amongst the action. They encourage us to be here so that they can not only see themselves racing on the replay, call out each other's mistakes, but so that we can show you guys around the world what it's like to race one of these classic boats in short course women leeward racing. Just a few seconds now away from the start. You can see everybody starting to line up. Josh, talk us through the momentum of what's going to be happening on the race course here.
Yeah, so as you come into these starts, the general way you want to go about it, we're just coming around Passion Stern here, is that if you can, you want a good gap to the leeward side of you so that you can build speed into that gap, and you want to get as tight as you can on the guy above you so you can squeeze them off and get your tack in later. That's Playboy off to the left of your screen, reaching down, getting called up there, called up by Pahi. Pahi with the right of way, the left-hand boat, forcing Playboy closer to the start line. Playboy's in a dangerous spot, and there goes the gun. No one was over, they're off. Playboy will be pretty happy with that start.
Another close start here in the Stewart 34 fleet, and Jodie has just made a comment. It looks like there's 27 people on board each boat. Maybe a little less than that, but yes, Josh, these boats are actually packed with crew. Just explain to us why there are so many people on board at Stewart 34 in this short course racing.
Well, there's a lot to do to get it around this short course. You know, those are big jibs, so you need someone to snap and someone to grind. You need someone to pull the spinnaker up. You need someone to pull it down. You need a lot of people all working together to get these things around a course. These older boats, you know, a bit harder to maneuver. You can see the big cabin top on Psyche there that we're just following, you know, so there's a lot of crawling over that and awkward positioning as a crew member. So they're not easy to get around a course, and a few more hands definitely makes it all that bit easier. They
do feel crowded though when you are on board, even though all of those extra hands are required. I've been on board racing a Stewart 34 in this series. I've also been on board, we've done a live stream from on board a boat, and you can really see every single hand matters as we get ourselves amongst it. We did start with the fleet. Here's Princess, who had a bit of a challenging second race of the evening. Let's see if they can stay out of trouble though in this race.
As that's Princess dipping Prism, as the most of the fleet are now making their way onto port tack. Just behind us there, that's Prince Hal having to dip Prism. Oh no, and Prism is very close on starboard too. Big close dip just behind there.
Oh, if the sails weren't so big.
Psyche.
If the sails weren't so big on these boats, we would have seen Psyche having to do a massive dip. The helm on that boat and the owner, Paul Groom, would not have been happy with that. Do you think he'll have a few words with his tactician, Leonard, on the decision to go out there and have such a huge dip?
I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily saw it coming. Like you said, the sails are pretty big. There's a lot going on right now. The fleet all just made their way onto port, so everyone's on port pretty much now, getting back towards the top mark. And at the moment, it looks like Playboy up into the sun there is in the lead. Prince Hal is still back in the middle of the fleet, our leader, as we come around the stern of Princess. Just above them is Precedent, who look like they're in second or third place. And Pahi also right in the mix again this race, which is great to see. The sun is on its way down. It's getting pretty dark out here.
It's getting dark, it's getting cold. A complete contrast to what we had in Sydney, where it was, gosh, it peaked at like 38, 39 degrees one day. It's great to be back in New Zealand though, where you can breathe the cooler air. Oh, man, we're just getting ourselves stuck with some wires here. Josh is doing some wire gymnastics as he tries to avoid his head going into the screen. But as you can see, we've got Pahi and Playboy first and second in the second race of the night. Doing quite well here, coming up to the top mark, and there is the fleet behind them. But what we're going to do is we're going to just sort of turn around here now, because up the right-hand side of the course, what do you think, Josh? There are only two boats. Passion came out to this right-hand side. Do you think it's going to pay off?
They look pretty close to the lead. I don't know if they'll quite get Playboy, but they do have the starboard right away. They're yelling out.
That's what we like. We like to hear the communication from on board.
Passion with the right of way. Playboy's going to have a crack at getting across them here. Passion yelling out.
Plenty of room. Gosh, you could park a bus through there. Playboy did the right thing. They held their own. They knew that they were okay.
Passion, on the other hand, have taken the inside of them after the mark. That's absolutely fine where they are now. They've kept clear. The Spinnaker's going up. They had their pole on first. Playboy will be second to set their Spinnaker despite being first around the mark. Closely followed by Pahi, who are just sitting right on Passion's stern. Playboy now throwing some dirty air back onto Passion in the right of your screen.
Just going to look over the shoulder as well and just see our series leader, Prince Hal, there. A little bit slow to get their kite up in this one. And there it goes.
Well, all these boats coming in and tacking straight on the mark makes it pretty difficult to set straight away.
Such a good set though. Once they did actually pop it, it just set beautifully. The most colourful and pretty Spinnaker. And here you go, bit of action here between Playboy and Passion. Talk us through what's going on here now, Josh.
Well, right now Playboy are throwing quite a bit of dirty air from their mainsail onto the Spinnaker of Passion. You can see the Spinnaker struggling to set. Both boats making their way on the second leg of the course down towards the bottom mark. We've got three boats all caught up as Playboy extends a little bit here. And I think Prince Hal and the others are gonna come into these boats on this downwind, because all three of them are fighting it out, throwing dirty air on each other.
What a great way to spend a Monday night. Close action, classic keelboat one design racing here in Auckland on the Waitemata. Did I say it right this time, Josh?
Yeah, that was good.
Excellent. I'm getting some good lessons here in Kiwi speak. And we've got Playboy, who are leading this race. They've just managed to pull away from Passion there after a little bit of argy-bargy.
And it looks like they're probably going to lay through on starboard, so they probably won't have to jibe before they get to the bottom mark here. So Playboy taking the lead at this stage. Passion just behind them, trying to get their wind shadow, trying to take the wind off Playboy out of their sails.
And what we actually saw was Guy Pilkington, who is the captain, the man in charge, the number one guy on board Playboy, was giving his crew some colourful instruction on what he wanted to see coming into this bottom mark, because it's only going to take one teeny tiny little mistake and they're going to have Passion right up on top of them.
Yeah, and just behind these leading boats, this top three, it looks like the rest of the fleet is pretty close to each other, and we're going to have another colourful mark rounding. Stay tuned.
This is the best part of our night, seeing the first mark rounding and seeing how much trouble each other can get into. The language is wonderful. Luckily you probably can't pick it up too much, but it's all about The passion, even though we're looking at passion, these guys are passionate about this racing. Here we come into the mark. You can see Playboy calling his crew early to get that pole down, and passion has followed suit. Josh just holding the microphone out there to see if he can get the audio.
We're gonna get right in close here, so there's a pretty good chance you'll hear some colourful audio. Playboy now dousing their spinnaker. Passion still has it up right on their stern, and Playboy will have mark room now. They're at the 3 lifts.
It's our boat driver Brad rolling his eyes in frustration as we put him in the situation, but this is the best action you're gonna get.
So here we have Playboy, who will round in first place. Joey Allen on Passion just yelling out to get the sheet off the hatch.
Not as close. Oh, where's the audio? There was nothing. Let's wait for the next group to go around. Oop.
As we have Pahi, who are just inside at the moment, leading towards the bottom mark. Prince Hal held President off to the left out there. So that's Pahi leading Prince Hal, who are also leading President. President with a very late drop.
Oh, Josh,
just
I'm
behind them. Someone else is sticking it in there.
There was not as many comms as we've had in the last few races.
Maybe they've worn out their vocal cords.
That's a very, very good point.
Prism struggling to get their spinnaker down. At least it's on the jib, you know. At least it's not floating out back.
And again, another lesson that you do not sail with your kite upwind. It's not the fastest point of sail. You can see the sun setting now. It's definitely getting chilly. You can see the boats are obviously, the sailors are most likely getting a little tired. That's why Josh said that we didn't probably hear a lot of comms. Everyone just wants to get this race done in a nice clean manner.
And that's Prism just coming past us. They've managed to get that spinnaker under control. I don't think they lost a place there.
Hey, and now have a look at who is this far back. What is Psyche? The boat that is doing quite well in the series, who've had, you know, reasonable results in the first 2 races, seem to be rather deep in this race.
Yeah, they must have weed on their keel. They should get someone over the side, have a look.
They really should. Suspend racing for a moment. They must have weed on their keel. Either that or somebody on board made a bad call.
Yeah, well, I don't actually know. They were that far back. I didn't really get a chance to look at it, but
You do realise that your friends on board will go back and watch this this live stream in replay, and I'm sure they'll have a few little comments for you on that, Josh.
oh, absolutely, and I hope they do.
And we're on precedent now. You can see everybody's getting a little bit tired, maybe a little bit cold.
The sun has gone down. It is over the horizon now. As Precedent looking like they have starboard advantage over Prince Hal just behind them there, just behind their sails. Prince Hal choosing to dip. It's a pretty close dip.
As Prince Hal, who was also doing really well, have they've dropped back. That's the thing with this race. You can look famous and then you're pretty much passed out on the pavement just a few moments later, and that looks like what has happened to Prince Hal and Psyche.
Prince Hal though, they're not actually that far off the port ley line, you know, so they're probably one tacking in here. Not a bad decision to take that dip.
So you reckon they're going to look all right?
They're not going to look all right, no, but
I didn't think they were going to look all right.
They're out this side of the course, so I think dipping was a good idea.
And this is your favourite side of the course. You prefer the left-hand side of the course. You have said that over the last few races.
Yeah, well, if in doubt, you know, it's high tide at about midnight tonight, so the tide will be flowing up and in, and it is deeper up this left side of the course. So if you're not sure on the shift, get the left side, get that tide, you know, play with what you know. As Playboy, centre of screen now, rounding the top mark.
That was a beautiful set by Guy and his team.
Yeah, beautiful set. Great boat handling to hold on to first place, a promising lead. And second, we seem to have Passion. Great job by Passion to stay right in touch here.
And then look at this, you know, as I said, you go from being famous to pass out on the pavement in a second, and Prince Hal is now looking famous again, getting back into third just with one tack. Very close tack though with Pahi, and you can see that the boats now have got their nav lights on. It's because we're about to lose all daylight.
Yeah. Prince Hal leads Pahi, followed by Precedent. Good set by Prince Hal out of screen. Precedent getting their pole on, taking a little bit longer here. Princess in the mix as well. Up goes their Spinnaker. This is a quick set by Princess. As we follow them down to the bottom mark, they do have their nav lights on. The sun has gone down.
And this is the last leg of the evening. You'll see that the race committee will send everybody home after this.
Precedent just off to your left, struggling to set their Spinnaker. It's inside the topping lift for the Spinnaker pole, so they've somehow got their Spinnaker halyard all crossed up, and it's on the wrong side of the forestay and the wrong side of the pole. That is going to cost them.
Now, do you think that they're also tired and hungry?
I think they're tired and hungry. It's an easy mistake to make. I always say you got to look up before you hook up.
Our boat driver is also tired and hungry, and I think we're going to be heading back to the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron post-racing, have a little bit of banter amongst the crews. That is where everybody heads for a prize giving post-racing. Jody earlier made the comment that the beer bill must be expensive, but that's okay if you're a member. You do get a discount, so join up.
And most of them drive home, so they only have one or two.
That is correct, because we're responsible.
And that is Prince Hal. Yellow and blue Spinnaker, blue boat. Always staying consistent, you know. They've had looks like they're in third place now. Passion, second place at the moment. And of course Playboy, well in front of the rest, out in front of the fleet, off to the right of your screen there.
As we'll make our way down to our race leader, Playboy. They've had a pretty good race, you can't really fault it.
No. So Playboy having a fifth to start with, and then returning fire with one gun in the second race, and it looks like they're going to take the gun first place in the third race as well, as we make our way down towards the finish line.
What an outstanding evening of racing. Who would have thought that you could have this much fun on a Monday night, Josh?
Yeah, or just because it's a Monday, don't let it stop you.
Absolutely.
And it is Playboy approaching the finish. There's the horn. Playboy take first place, so that's a fifth and then two firsts for Playboy.
They would say that that would be a successful night.
I think so, because that's probably a drop the first race for them. They're generally pretty consistent.
And here we're going to go sit on this finish line as we see the next few boats come down. You can see this is now considered sunset. No,
Yeah,
actually the sun's gone.
It has set
It's gone.
entirely.
The sun is gone.
Center of screen there, that is Passion, looking to take second place. What a commanding lead Playboy had. But look who's not out of it as well. Prince Hal in third. They're always there.
That's why they're the series leader, Josh.
Exactly.
Consistency pays.
And Pahi, fourth place as well. They had a pretty solid race last race with a second.
And the only boat that hasn't finished in the top four, who is in the top four in the results, is Psyche. The yellow hull and the bright yellow Spinnaker. Probably not their best race. It looks like they might even finish last.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a drop for them.
Yeah, definitely a drop for them. They won't be happy with that.
You can see when that sun does go down, it gets dark really, really quickly. And it gets cold. Welcome back to New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we watch these last few boats go over the finish line, we've got Princess going over the line now.
And Pātere actually taking a few places off the other boats this time. That's good from them.
And Precedent followed by Prism, and yep, they have finished. They're going to finish last place. Not a good one for Leonard Takahashi and the owner and skipper of that boat, Paul Groom. That's okay. That's all right. They can go back. They can debrief. They can talk about it, and they can drop this race if they don't have too many more bad ones.
You know, if you lose the race, don't lose the lesson. You know. So they'll debrief from that one, and hopefully we'll see them come back even stronger next time.
Now, did you get a lot of these little sayings from your mate Tucker Thompson when you did some Congressional Cup commentating?
No, they're all original.
They're all original. All right. Well, at this point, that is it for racing for tonight. I'm Sue Ellen from Live Sail Dive, and welcome here tonight by Josh Weejohn and our driver down the back, Brad, who put us in some pretty exciting situations here on this race course. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back next week for more Stewart 34 action here in New Zealand. We hope you enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Let's go to debrief.
Yeah, big thanks for having me, of course, as well.
No worries,
Really
Josh.
enjoyed it.
Shall we lock you in for next week?
Potentially. I wouldn't say no.
That means that he won't be racing on Playboy. So, Guy, just letting you know that Josh, your crew member, will not be back because he is going to stay on board and do some commentating with us. That's it. We'll see you next week. See you, everyone.
See ya.